Hello, welcome back. It's been a while, I know. Happy New Year, I guess. So today I want to talk about hypos and the things that I use when I'm going low. What do I do to stop a hypo? These sort of things are good. Squashies. You've seen me tweet about squashies a lot because they're good, but they're quite addictive. I tend to eat them when I'm not hypo. Bad news, I know. This is still good. Lucozade. Thanks to Jamie Oliver and the likes, there's not as much sugar in this stuff anymore, but it still works. It's still effective. And one other thing that I've been using lately is this stuff. Excuse the bent card. There was a little tube on this which was torn off, and that's why the card's bent. It's Gluco RX Gel Talk. I've never heard of it until somebody on Twitter sent me a mention and suggested I use this because it's effective and delicious. So, okay, I asked for some samples. Some samples came along, and I have to admit, they're good. If I'm falling quite sharply, these things tend to level me out. They don't spike me. I guess they would if I was just falling steadily. If I'm falling sharply, these tend to level me out. They take about 10 to 15 minutes maybe. And then I will take on board some more slower burning carbs, as you may. In a tube, you can see in the picture, a tube of that size, there's 15 carbs in each one. But it's fast acting. And it was fast acting even on my CGM, which is a little delayed. I think the last time I used it, I was falling down to 5 millimoles almost, and I had that in my pocket. I wasn't at home. I was maybe a mile away and I was walking home. So it made sense to take that on board. So I stopped, had the tube. It suggests on the card that you squeeze the tube into your mouth, swill the contents in your mouth for 5 seconds, I don't know why, and swallow. So I did. Within 10 minutes, 10, 15 maybe, my CGM had leveled out, and I began to eat a couple of sweets I had in my pocket as well. My blood sugars went back up. All was fine, and I walked home again. So I'm kind of positive on these things at the moment. Maybe there's other ones out there. You know, you might use glucose juice or glucose tabs or hypo gel or other names, but this is the one I've used lately. I haven't used them in a long time. I used to use hypo gel. That was NHS funded, and that tasted like lemon hand wash. To be honest, it was disgusting. And so I didn't use it, and it was no longer available to me on the NHS a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago. They stopped doing that. Last year I went on holiday and I thought, okay, what am I going to use, because I was on a boat in the middle of the Atlantic. What am I going to use if I go hypo? And I bought some glucose juice and some glucose tabs, and on the one occasion I need to use them, they were quite effective as well. But I haven't used any since. I got a mention on Twitter about Gluco RX Gel Talk Gel, and asked for some samples. Why not? And some of them came along. I used them, and they have been effective. So I'm positive on these things. I'm positive about the use of glucose gels. But that aside, I believe that maybe these things should be NHS funded now. Not completely, I think maybe they should be NHS funded, but maybe means tested. Because there's a lot of type 1 diabetics, and we all have hypos, most of us do. And it's expensive, of course, whether you've worked out how much you spend on your Lucozade, your squashes, or whatever else you decide to use for hypos, over the course of a year, that can add up. Even glucose juice and glucotabs, that's quite expensive as well. And not all people in the UK can afford that stuff, but it's kind of essential. A lot of people in the UK go to food banks. At the moment, more people go to food banks than ever before. A lot of people here live in poverty. And if you're going to a food bank, it usually means you can't afford to feed your family or yourself. So if you can't do that and you have type 1 diabetes, how do you afford your hypo foods, juices? How? I guess you don't. And the argument might be, well, okay, we'll just go to the food bank and have a bag of sugar. If they have it, I suppose. I feel that maybe these should be NHS funded, and the other ones, it doesn't have to be these. These should be NHS funded, but means tested. If you have food bank vouchers, then maybe your GP should add this to your list of medications or something else. Some of you may get that anyway. I know that it is available, and some of you do get hypo gels. I personally don't, but I feel within the UK it would make sense if it was available to those that do live in poverty and those that can't afford to feed themselves or their family. So there's that. I'm not paid to talk about this. I've been sent some samples and a mug and a pen. So, there's my disclosure. That's what I got for talking about that gel. No payments. I don't work for them. There's no ties with me in that company. That's the same with the other things I speak about on YouTube and on Twitter and Insta and any social media. I have no ties or attachments or financial investments or anything to any medical company or any company that to do with diabetes, I guess. I have my own Diabadass clothing thing, which I occasionally sell, but that's obvious that belongs to me, and I sell those things now and again. That leads me on to disclosure and kind of the advocacy of people with diabetes via some people on social media, and disclosure of their involvement with medical companies, pharmaceutical companies, businesses which are there to make money, of course, out of people with diabetes or other health conditions as well alongside. I feel it's important that if you have a tie with any company which is designed to make money out of healthcare, items such as food, gels, monitors, meters, anything, then it's important that you disclose that involvement. If you are seen or you claim to be a diabetes advocate, a person with diabetes advocate, what's the term? An advocate for somebody with diabetes, maybe? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. Be open. You need to disclose these things, because if you hide them, and perhaps you don't purposefully hide them, but if you're not open and these things come out further down the line, it stinks. People do need to know this if you're speaking on their behalf. If you're speaking for the good of a type 1 diabetic or the good of a type 1 diabetes community, whether that be a hashtag or a website or your little meet, whatever you are involved in. If you're speaking on behalf of those people, then you need to disclose the things that you are involved in business-wise. Whether you have a company or it's just you on a personal level, you need to disclose these things so people can be aware and make decisions based upon their involvement with you as an individual or with that company. Because, we all have a view on certain people. We all have a view on certain companies, and we don't all want to be blindly attached to those things via a person or persons because they claim to be a patient advocate. So disclose. And that's why I talk about that and say, I don't have an involvement, any financial involvement. I don't get paid. And you can go on Twitter and Facebook and talk about whatever you like and say, oh yeah, that banana was delicious, but I don't have an involvement in the banana company. Just letting you know, yeah, take the piss. I don't give a shit. That's my opinion. And if you don't like that, then that's fine. You can take the piss. You can say whatever you wish. It's your social media. It's not only my opinion. It's the opinion of other people too. So please disclose. Let's all be out there and open. You've got nothing to hide and nothing to fear. So there's that. And that's going to be it. It's a long enough video, 12 minutes or so. So welcome back. I'm making videos again. Kinda. Maybe. Maybe I'll blog. Because people blog, don't they now? And then they get invited to stuff because they blog. Only they don't blog. They have a blog. And then they get invited to stuff because they have a blog. Maybe I'll blog. What do you think? Let me know. Watch more videos. Going to be up here or maybe up here. Or you can sub, I guess. One side or the other. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon. Bye for now.